3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Welcome to Sorare in the States Football. Here are your hosts, the Taco Slayer Jorge and MLS card guy Kris.
I'd be lying if I said that I remembered how this works. Look at me, it's my voice. This isn't Kris, the MLS card guy. This is Jorge, the Taco Slayer, on the football show, taking the lead. What? How long is it? I don't even know how long it's been.
It's been a while.
Whoa! Whose
Hello?
voice is that? Hello?
I'm back.
Mom?
back, baby.
Hello? Hello? He's back? Kris, the MLS card guy, is back. So we're in the States. Football is back. Kris, how are you? Hello? It's good
Dude.
to know. It's good to see your face.
I am ridiculously tired, but at the same time, actually very excited to be back doing this. Because I did miss it, like it was like a part of me was just like gone, a big part of me. And I haven't been able to talk to anybody in the community. And it's just been very sad, although it's been very happy, because if you know why I was gone, it's a good time. It's a happy song.
That is true.
Um,
It is a little blessing and a curse. I
Yeah.
will say, like those first couple days, a week or two, you're like, it's kind of nice to get your time back a little bit, receive that back, take a little break, go outside and touch some grass. But after a while, you do start to get a little missed. You do start to get that itch to talk about Sorare because we love this game so much. But Kris, for those that don't know, why were you gone? Where did you go? Why did you abandon us?
Yeah, I just abandoned you, really. That was it. That was my only goal, was to just abandon you and leave you with your Orlando City flag in the background.
Yeah, well, who's leading the show now?
Yeah, so for those people that don't already know, I work for a USL championship team called the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and we've had a pretty ridiculously incredible season so far. It's been a magical ride. But one of the things that happened was our game presentation coordinator left to go to the Columbus Crew, which is great for him, like a big promotion for him, obviously. But that meant there was an opening that I slid right into the DMs for.
Oh, yeah.
And I took over as the promotions and entertainment manager. So that means I'm responsible for all of the audio, all of the video, all of the halftime entertainment, all of the bands that come through, all of the events that we do as a team, but also everything else that happens at our stadium. So it takes a lot of creative energy to come up with fun stuff to keep thousands of people entertained every single weekend. And it just so happened that I got that job as we entered the most ridiculous part of our schedule, where we had eight home games in 10 weeks or something like that, plus a bunch of other events. So we are still in the middle of that. So I'm very ridiculously tired, but this is like our kind of halfway point. And we've got a bunch of stuff coming up next weekend, and then after that a little bit of stuff, but we're getting to the point where a lot of it's planned. So I'm starting to remember what the sun feels like again, which is fantastic. And yeah, it's been a great time. It's been a whole lot of fun to get to be creative and produce stuff for an actual professional football team, which is wild. That literally I started this like just talking to random people on the internet like 2 years ago, and it's literally led me to a spot where I'm now creating content for thousands of people each weekend and letting them have a good time. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that's honestly, it's one of those things where you go to think, and you don't really ever think about working for a football club or kind of putting yourself in that kind of position and just taking that role where you see things from the other side, right? So now it's not just going to the game and getting your food and your drinks and all this stuff and just experiencing it. Like now you have to put that together. How has that changed your appreciation for the game, or just game day activities, or just like the entire just building the atmosphere, right? Because it just doesn't come from nothing. Like someone had to put that together. So do you have a little bit more appreciation for the beautiful game itself?
Oh, 100%. And I reached out to a bunch of people when I got the job, and I was like, hey, what's your best like football memory? And like what makes things special when you go to games? And try to kind of like piece together from all over the world like what makes football. And I mean, it's hard. Like, you can't really put it into words, it's just a special place, and it's really about building a community and trying to get 5,000 people to all kind of cheer at one time for one thing. And sometimes we're successful with it, sometimes we're not. But yeah, it's definitely a new appreciation that I have for even going to, like, we'll be going to the Pirates game later. And I'll be probably sitting there more focused on the video board and the and the music that they're playing than I am on the actual game itself. But um, yeah, just it's really fun when you get like the press box shaking because you're playing a song and everybody's stomping their feet, or you get the entire stadium like chanting at one time with stuff that you put up on the board, or you get to troll the other team a little bit, which is always a good time. So yeah, it's a whole new appreciation for sure of what goes into it behind the scenes. It's a lot for sure.
Dude, hey, no pressure, buddy. All right, it's just a
No
bunch of
pressure.
people are counting on you for date night. All right, don't ruin their date night. Make sure they have a good time and go home and tell their kids about it in 20 years. But hey, look, you're getting a whole new perspective on the content game, which hopefully you can bring back to the Sorare streets, because Sorare in the States, the brand itself is coming back at you. The off season is over, in full workouts, and coming
Yeah,
at you
more
live. Maybe
preseason training.
yeah, preseason workouts, baby. We're
Yeah.
doing it. We're figuring out. We're recording this. Don't know if it's going to get uploaded to YouTube or not. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we spent more time trying to figure out the platform itself than actually preparing for the show. So we're gonna go for it. Whatever, right? It was
It's good
perfectly
talk.
planned. He's like, "Hey, man, take the lead on this show. That who knows where it's going to end up. And if it doesn't go
Yeah.
good, it's your fault, right? Yeah,
That's what I was
dude.
gonna say. You got a promotion too, because now you're the lead Sorare in the States guy. You're the face of the brand now. How does it feel?
I feel like the listener counts are going to drop off any second now, so that might be where it goes. One show was enough, but maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know, dude. So rare worldwide. What's up, 6 Underground? But so we're gonna bring you in here. So you took a little bit of time off? Have you still been playing So Rare? Have you been paying attention? Not as much
Yeah.
attention? Like, how is that whole dynamic with being that this game really pulls you in? How has that balance been working out for you?
Yeah, so still been playing, still been submitting teams every week. Although I did miss this weekend for MLS, which was pretty embarrassing. I think that's the first time I missed a game week in a long time. So yeah, still been playing both baseball and football. I haven't watched an MLS game in probably 2 months, 3 months. So yeah, I don't know if I'm really up to date on like who's got starting jobs and stuff like that. But yeah, I've still been playing and still been submitting teams. And the baseball side's been going better than the soccer side for sure. But I've won a few like little knickknacks here and there on soccer, so it's not too bad, I would say.
Have you and when we were kind of talking earlier, I had this thought, stepping away, maybe not being like so like in that like bubble, right? Where you're just not just in it and just obsessed with it, right? Taking a step back, did that help you at all? Like building your teams? Like, do you feel like that kind of helped you clear your head a little bit more and have like a more constructed strategy now that you're not just in it, if that makes sense? I don't really know how I'm wording that, but
Yeah, I don't really feel like a whole lot changed for me, to be fair. Like, I felt like I had most of what I wanted to do kind of worked out already. And then with the collections coming in, I did go into collections a little bit. So that changed just a little bit, but that would have changed anyway with new rules and everything. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like it changed really too much for me as far as who I want to buy or anything like that. I feel like I'd have to, oddly enough, I feel like I'd have to actually like get back into like the numbers, the analytics, the charts to actually like know, oh shit, I'm actually way off right now, and I need to change what I'm doing. Like right now, I'm just like happy as a camper, like ignorance is bliss type of thing. And I'm just like starting the same teams every week, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. And yeah, judging by Roman Celentano's price when I bought him, and now it's probably shouldn't be starting him every week. But yeah, who cares, That's
yeah, dude. Nobody looks at prices. I mean, everybody. And that it's actually funny that you think about that because you've been gone for a little bit and you came back at a perfect time, which I would say that the market's doing one of those things where it's just really just steadily going down. And a mixture
Hmm.
of it is
Love that.
obviously, MLS is in the middle of the season. People are starting to maybe pivot going back to Europe. But another dynamic that I noticed this year, and obviously us being very MLS focused, it's one of those things where, as Europe ends, we anticipate that everybody kind of piles into the Americas and MLS. And that didn't really happen this year. There was
Yeah.
obviously the under 20, 21 and under 23, under 21, under 23. Yeah, those competitions, the under 23 tournaments or whatever. You had now Leagues Cup, Gold Cup, all this coverage that came to Sorare, and all of a sudden it almost felt like we didn't get that pump in the Americas. And then there's other content creators and stuff kind of going around saying that they were going to skip out in the summer and taking a break. So maybe things didn't really work out the way we thought they were going to. Do you think that's like now the new normal, or is it just kind of there's a kink and like the move this year was to maybe avoid Americas, work on Europe, and then next year it's going to be like, all right, well, their European cards are pretty stacked up. Maybe they'll come back to America. How do you see that? Have you actually been paying attention?
Yeah, I mean, this is all like it's all game theory, right? So you kind of want to do the opposite of what everybody else does. So in this case, everybody else went to Europe, so you would be really good getting into America and getting really low, getting cards really low, and then if everybody, because everybody expected everybody else to go into America, so everybody went into America. So now next year, everyone's gonna be like, well, no one went into America last year, so no, I'm not going to go into America. And then those cards should theoretically go up. The other thing to consider that I think at this point we have to start talking about this is there's enough supply of these cards now where we should start to see more like level prices. We shouldn't see like ridiculous ups and ridiculous downs. Like we should start to see more of like, this is kind of what this is worth. And he's got 600-700 cards at the limited level, a couple hundred at the rare level, to where like back in the day it used to be like 40 cards and like 3 people would freak out and then all of a sudden the price would go nuts. Now it's a lot more stable, and I think that year over year that is going to continue to grow and continue just as the supply grows naturally. You're going to continue to see that price be more stable. And then if it goes up or down depends on if you get more demand. So if you can onboard new players at a rate that matches the supply or exceeds it, you'll get the price going up. So I think that's really the big challenge as far as we kind of knew that this was eventually going to start to become a thing where there was just enough cards out there so that everybody who wanted one in the community could have one. Now it's, can you grow the community to be able to handle this much supply? Because at this point, clearly with the prices, like they can't handle the supply.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that everybody knew, like the whole supply demand kind of dynamic, but it never really came into play. But you're right that like now, as time goes on, the more and more supply that we get year over year, it starts to become difficult. And not only that, with that itself, and this is something else that I've been thinking about, is that the people that are here, the longer that they're here, the smarter they get,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
and the smarter they are with their choices. So they're being a little bit more specific. They're not going out and just throwing money at everything. So at the same time, is like the good players are going to continue to rise, but at the same time, the mediocre players, the low players, like the guys that just have no ceiling, their prices are going to continue to tank with no just like big boost in people coming in on the platform, because everybody here, as they get smarter, the strategy develops. Like all
Those
of us,
guys don't help you at all.
yeah, all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like you're going for a smaller pool of guys, completely leading everything else, just completely dump and hope that someone new comes around and buys all the junk that we don't want. So,
Yeah, exactly.
but then again, at the same time, is that we should get that with the first year of the Premier League and stuff this year. Like, there's no telling what's going to happen in 2 months, and it's everything is just different. It's one of those things where the market's trying to, like you were saying, it's starting to stabilize. It's starting to really find its footing and where it's going to be. And the people that were early and the people that are now coming in, they're gonna see it differently, and the market's going to make sense in different ways to different people. And it's just another dynamic we gotta figure out.
Yeah, I mean, another kind of point on this topic as well is it's going to be different for different players too. Like you've got a guy like Jack McGlynn has gotten cards every single year. MLS has been a thing. He's got a couple hundred rare cards. He's got over 1,000 limited cards. Like his supply is pretty much his supply. Like his price shouldn't really go that far up or down. Whereas this, a brand new draft pick that everybody's super excited about, Wembanyama in the NBA side, he's like 2 cards, like it literally takes somebody to just want one more than anybody else, and his price can go through the roof. So I think even and you'll see that with soccer players too. I am kind of looking forward to the point where we get to, Jack McGlynn's 27 years old. He's had a decade of Sorare cards. You can pick him up for nothing, even though he's a great player, versus like Axel Kai is 16 years old, has never played a game before, but everybody thinks he's the next big thing. And he's got like 3 cards out there, and his price is going to be like quadruple the price of Jack McGlynn. And you'll get, way more value out of Jack McGlynn than you will out of, and I'm just using Axel Kai as an example here, but you get my point. Like it'll be fun to get to that point where like the old veteran guys are just dirt cheap and they're super productive in the prime of their career.
Yeah, it almost feels like we're turning a page on Sorare itself. Like obviously, as they continue to develop and bring out new things and really kind of turn the game into the game that should scale to the masses, it's a little hard, and change is hard to deal with sometimes. We don't like to look at things and be like, well, it's not the same way it was when I started 6 months ago, so everything's going to shit. Like it's like, look, the things are going to develop. Look, Call of Duty Zombies. If you played Call of Duty Zombies at the beginning, game was nothing compared to what it is today. And people like it, people don't, but that's what it is. And the market's going to be here. It's going to stay. It's down, which means buy the bags. Buy in the red. Why are you buying in the green? If you're buying in the green, everybody already knows, and they're already pumped up. And you're buying the top. You should be buying when it's red.
That's true.
When their L15 goes to like 42, but they're a 60-ish player, that's when you buy. You don't just go, oh, everybody else is dumping them, so I'm going to dump them too. No, that's when you buy.
Right.
Gosh, buy the rumor, sell the news. Sup, Trippin' B?
That's been honestly like the thing that I've done that's worked out the most. I've done every strategy, right? I've tried to buy the best players and win rewards. I've tried to buy the super young guys and wait. I've tried, like, you've been here 2.5 years, like you kind of tried everything at this point. And really, that's the thing that works. Like, I know Miles Robinson is a quality player. Like, he's a national team player. He's a solid center back. I've watched him average 60 over a whole season. I know he's solid. Right now, he's dirt cheap because he's been kind of in the national team, so he hasn't really been playing for Atlanta. So he's got some, like, his stats look a little weird. I know he's really good. Same thing with Christian Roldan. I know he's really good. As long as he stays in the MLS, that dude's going to be a mid-50s, 60 type guy, or at least until he gets to be like 35. Those guys are super, super cheap right now, and that's where I've been kind of adding players, is guys that are on a 45 L10 because they had a couple sub appearances because they just came back. That's where you start to, like, your football knowledge starts to really take over. And eventually those guys, hopefully pump again at some point. In theory, they should go back up at some point.
No, and that's, like, I always kind of knew that, but I remember at the beginning of this year, we were talking a lot, and it was like, oh, Julian Gressel was just like through the roof. And even you were like, yeah, why are you not selling him? Just sell him. I'm like, no, dude, he's smashed it. Like, look at him. I'm going to keep him all season. And then he fell off a cliff. We all know what Julian Gressel could do, right? I'm not panic selling. It's like, does it suck to look at that valuation? Yeah. Does it suck to see all that money that I left on the table? Yeah. But am I pretty confident that at some point, hopefully this season, it'll kind of go back up? And if I really want to, I can get out then. And if not, well, I'm just going to continue on the Gressel train.
And that's the thing. Like, his scores are like down because he fell off a cliff because he played for the U.S. national team and made 3 sub appearances. Like, he got a sub appearance at the end of his time in Vancouver before the Gold Cup because they were trying to save him for the national team. So, like, he's got 5 of his last 7 games have been as a sub. So his L5 is 29, which looks really bad. But, like, he hasn't really fallen off a cliff. Like, he scored 2 goals, like, 3 games before he left for the Gold Cup, like, It's not like
And
it's not like he's like literally like actually not been playing well. He's just like it's just Gold Cup. And I think there's
yeah.
a big opportunity with a lot of the Gold Cup players too.
Oh,
Because
for
a lot
sure.
of them are like not in the same setup on the national team that they are in their clubs. And like Gressel, Robinson, Roldan, those guys, Morris, like those guys are all in that same boat. And it's like now it's kind of the time to pick them up. I actually literally considered getting a Julian Gressel rare. And I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I don't know.
Why not? Why not? Why haven't you? Is it because his
I
L5
don't
is low?
know. I just yeah. His L5 scares me, honestly. He's falling off a cliff.
Dude, I'm telling you.
No, I don't know if I want to pay 0.05 for a midfielder. Because I feel like I could probably find someone who's like almost as good for like 0.02. But I mean, Gressel does give you a lot of upside. So I don't know. I just have to I haven't done enough research. I haven't gotten back into the full swing of things yet.
Yeah, and
But that's what this is for, you know?
well, I was about to
That's
say,
why I'm
like,
here.
come at me. Come at me. What you got? What have you been thinks? Because you've been gone for like what, two months now ish.
Yeah.
Typically, we took a lot has happened. There's been a
Yeah.
lot of ins and outs. There's been a lot of teams falling off. A lot of teams finding form. There's been a
Yeah,
lot
when
of
I left,
rotation.
Miami was really bad, and now I come back and they're the fucking greatest team in the world with 3 billion views on each of their stuff.
But I mean, we could turn this into a shit on fucking Miami podcast real quick. All right, we can just pivot this right now.
So with my new job, right? All I do is game presentation. Like I think about like audio sound, video sound, like what cameras are we cutting to? That was the worst game presentation I've ever seen from a professional sports organization. Oh my god. Like they have a camera manually shooting the video board instead of just putting it straight into the feed so you can see the whole video on the full screen. Like,
that blew my mind. How are you going to
they didn't have
show
the
an out of
mics. They didn't have the mics connected to the broadcast, so you're just listening to the in-stadium sound. It was terrible. It was so bad.
And like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, as an Orlando City supporter, just like any wrong step that Inter Miami takes as an organization is just like music to my ears, right? Like, it is just pure bliss. But when you're gonna fumble the bag on one of the most like probably important moments in this league's history, and you're gonna fumble it that bag.
Yeah.
You're making the entire league look pathetic right now, which is like what we're completely trying to avoid. All right. We finally got people to drop the retirement league tag. All right. That's finally kind of in the dust. But now we finally land Messi, and you're just gonna, oh brother. Like,
that was horrendous.
Oh,
and David Beckham almost died on the stage. He looked like he was figure skating. My God. Like don't pick a stage that has a surface like that in fucking Miami where it rains all the time.
Listen,
you know,
it is Florida in the middle of summer. Like, how are you, like you were saying, as a like planner, as an event coordinator, or whatever, like you have to know in the afternoons after 3 p.m., you're just getting thunderstorms all like afternoon. So what are you just you love to see it. You love to see it. Everybody clap your hands. Give it up for the greatest organization in the world, Inter Fort Lauderdale. Let's go.
So while we're on that, does Miami make the playoffs?
Not a chance.
No.
Which, granted, shout out to Sasha Kleshin. If anybody saw that clip that was going around Twitter for a while and the internet, Sasha Kleshin pulled out a whiteboard on MLS 360 and did the math. And they haven't won since. And they basically have to win out all their games after Leagues Cup to even remotely sniff the playoffs. Which, granted, I mean, you get a player like Messi. I mean, who's to say he can't literally win all those games?
If they win out, that's 36 points. That'd get them to 48. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be enough for sure. I mean, they're only 12 points back, and they have 2 games in hand for the playoff line right now. And it's DC United. It's not like it's a good team, you know, in that. Speaking of which, DC United, are they the greatest team to ever play soccer?
Oh God, no, never. They have Tyler Miller in goal.
They're pretty dang good. I was not expecting them to be a playoff team.
Listen, I told you this in the very beginning. After DC played in Orlando early, and I said, is DC a good team? Are they a sneaky good team? Benteke doing it?
Benteke's killing it, I guess.
Donovan Pines, they're doing it. Look, man, the only problem is that, okay, first of all, has Tyler Miller always just like played way out of his box?
Yeah.
Because he's just getting chipped left and right. And people are like, why is Rooney telling him to do that? And I'm just like, there comes a time when it's like, all right, buddy, like you need to stop coming out because he's gotten chipped in like
People
5
just
of the
know
last.
that he's going to come out and they just
Yeah. He
Yeah.
just gets caught out every game at least once. And it's just Tyler Miller is the downfall of that team. And I almost bought a Tyler Miller. I almost went out and bought a Tyler Miller.
Miller was really good in the beginning of the season. I haven't watched the game, but he was really, really good. And I thought he was really good in Minnesota too. He just lost to Dane St. Clair, who's also really good. So like I don't have anything against Tyler Miller unless he's terrible now, which is possible.
It's been pretty bad. Like DC is one of those teams that they've been kind of hanging in. Like they're literally the definition of like middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
But you get the Tyler Miller mistakes, and then I mean I should probably know this, but he got benched recently, and I don't know if it was rotation or not. I don't know if he played last weekend or not. Really wasn't paying attention.
I think he's been playing. I could be wrong.
But yeah, he got like sat for like a game. I don't know if it was just rotation, but like everyone was like, "Oh, did it happen? Did Tyler Miller finally lose it?" And
he just sat one game.
Yeah. And Wayne Rooney gave him the shout for the All-Star game. So Tyler Miller will be at the All-Star game to show up his fancy moves against Arsenal. Ugh.
After a 4-0 loss, was an error led to a goal.
Which, being that we're here and you're coming back, and like you said, you're on a break, and MLS is about to be on a break because we are 2 days away from the All-Star game and 4 days away from the start of Leagues Cup. Can we just like right now in the conversation of All-Star game, just stop playing European teams for the All-Star game?
Who are you gonna play?
Dude, just go East versus West, please. Even like I really liked MLS First Liga All-Stars because I thought it was cool. It's 2 leagues, you get all your All-Stars, you go a game. You know, US versus Mexico, that's always a lot of fun. But now with Leagues Cup, it's like, okay. Go back to East and West. Like I
actually think it makes more sense with Leagues Cup now. You know?
Oh yeah, that would
like there's more of a partnership
both.
now. You could end the Leagues Cup with like the 2 All-Star teams playing each other.
That would be cool too, but I think it's like too much like Liga MX just like shoved down everybody's throats, and I don't think people like too much sometimes. But like, look at it this way: like MLS is trying to gain the respect of the rest of the world, right? Like we're trying to show that and prove that we could be like a top league in the world. And you're saying that we're going to take all the All-Stars from our league and we're going to play against a B team from Europe because they're in preseason. Like, that just makes this league look like a joke. Like, why are we playing like Arsenal B? Like, I don't know. It looks silly. You got to think. And then on top of that, the MLS All-Stars are probably going to lose like they always do, which is even worse.
Because it's an All-Star team. All-Star teams are terrible. Because you've never played with the other guys before. Like, yes, you're all good players, but you never played with them. Like, give me the Pittsburgh Riverhounds against the MLS All-Stars, and we'll see who wins.
Okay, buddy.
That.
Okay,
I'll take that deal.
I'm glad you enjoy your job, all right? But you can calm down there, buddy, all right? But, like, you get what I'm saying.
Hey, we were 30 minutes away from playing Miami and playing Messi in Pittsburgh, okay? So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it doesn't make it's just so silly. Like you're getting your league's all-stars to lose to a European team in preseason. Like, oh, dude, come on. We are better than that. Go back to East West. But for all those,
it's a very what's the word? Like you're the little kid on the block and you're trying to seem like the big kid on the block. You're like, oh, we're gonna play Arsenal. Like we're gonna play a huge team, and it's like everybody knows like. You're just doing you're literally just doing this because you're such a small team. Like you're thinking so small.
Oh, dude, it's so bad.
It's not good.
But hey, for all those that are traveling, all those that are going to All-Star game, MLS All-Star, enjoy, have your fun. To all those winners,
it's not a joke at all.
No, it is not. And to all those people that won tickets from Sorare to the MLS All-Star game, you also have a great time. Post all the pictures Sorare on tour. What's up? #.
I would rather watch Goalie Wars, to be fair.
The fact that they have not brought back Goalie Wars,
no, they did.
Blows my mind.
They
did. Last year. They did it for it was the NXT or the MLS Next Pro. Like it was like MLS Next people though. It wasn't like actual like MLS. Like they should literally do MLS Goalie Wars. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I thought that. I don't know. They did it last year, though, right?
No,
Didn't-
yeah,
didn't
it was just
Sinclair do it last year?
the. No, I'm pretty sure it was just the Next Pro guys.
Oh,
Shout out to all the Europeans
What,
that don't
none
know
of-
what goalie wars is.
shout out to anyone who's ever watched a game of soccer who doesn't know what goalie wars is. Like, it's a very obscure, like, MLS 1.0 type thing. But we love it.
If she doesn't know MLS goalie wars, she's too young for you, bro. Just throwing it out there, all right? Let's see, but anything else happen in the East that you are curious about? Because the East is, first of all, Cincinnati just running away with the Supporter Shield.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
hello.
not gonna say I told you so, but I told you so 2 years ago. Everybody laughed at me. Oh, 3 straight wooden spoons are terrible. Like, no, this Pat Noonan dude, he's gonna turn things around. They're gonna get a defense, and when they do, watch the hell out. And they got a defense now, guys. Like, yeah, 11 wins out of 12 at home. That's pretty good. That's decent,
And
especially in this league. Oh my god!
And they've been doing it with Brenner, who got traded out, and
Yeah.
Brandon Vasquez has been with the national team. Like,
yeah.
they haven't really been all there up top, and they're still managing to hold on to an incredible Supporter Shield lead, which is fantastic.
8 points right now. Yeah, Lucho Acosta is their offense. Like, as long as he's healthy and playing, he's enough to just be the offense for a whole team. He doesn't need any help. And now they finally have Nwobodo, who's fantastic. And they got a couple of center backs now. They got Celentano, who's pretty good. So, like, they're pretty good. So one thing I was wrong about. The top of the Western Conference doesn't look like I thought it would.
Okay,
who's this St. Louis team?
San Luis? San Lorenzo? What?
Yeah.
STL? Dude, they are a team who refuses to fall off, even though everybody is just waiting.
They've only tied twice this year.
I can't get a grip. I can't get a grasp on St. Louis, man. Like, I don't know what it is, but they just don't lose. They
do lose. They've lost 8 times. That's the same amount as Minnesota.
But
that's the same amount as New York City FC, by the way, who's in 13th in the East.
Is it really?
Yeah. They just only have 2 draws. They win, they don't draw, which
is
great for getting points, but, like, wow, how do you only have 2 draws in the season? Montreal has 2 draws too.
Because they don't lose, bro. I'm telling you, they don't lose. You ain't got to win, but you got to not lose. You know, when you come home from the game and go, well, at least we didn't lose. That's it. That's all.
They either win or lose. They're 13-8.
Well, the entire West right now
is
the entire West is just so jam packed.
And so bad. You mean is the word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
Real Salt Lake is in 3rd. Guy.
Okay, yeah, because Chicho Arango is back, dude. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's true. I did forget about that. They have a legitimate actual striker now.
They said, "Hey, Chicho's coming back. What? We're gonna make him play against Orlando City? What?"
Pablo Ruiz is really good.
And Savarino might be on his way out.
I don't know why Pablo Ruiz like randomly doesn't play like half their games, but he's really good when he plays.
I think that's just RSL. Well, that's the thing. Everybody at RSL is just starting to produce. Like, even Danny Musovsky, who came over from LAFC last year, didn't really do much. And all of a sudden this year, he was like, hey.
He was decent at LAFC. He just never played because LAFC is ridiculously deep.
When it sucks now because he was finally starting to find form and they were like, haha, we just signed Chicho. What's up? And he's like, oh, not again.
Literally, same guy that kept him on the bench at LAFC too.
Literally, he's just like, oh, dude, you got to be kidding me. Not again.
God damn it.
Oh, brother. Dude, it's just, I don't know. Because you got to think San Jose started off really hot and then they kind of fell off. Vancouver, just defensively, is just kicking me in the butt right now. Because, I went out and I got a Takioka this year. And I was so excited. And it just hasn't been fun since.
They scored 38 goals, though.
They score, yeah, but they also give them up too. That's the problem,
right? That doesn't help you typically.
Yeah,
if you score, but you also concede more of them, that doesn't help you.
Which is like a lot of teams this year. It's gotten pretty weird. Like Atlanta's the same way. They'll score the goals, but Brad Guzan is such a clown.
My God, 42 goals, and they're in 7th. That's wild. Columbus has got a huge amount of goals scored. They're first in the league, actually. And they're in 6th somehow. What's up with Columbus? They're
Same
supposed to be
thing.
really good.
Same thing, defense. And
Yeah.
then like, what is it? What's his face?
Zilla
No, it's
Cucho?
Cucho. There it is. I'm like Cucho, and I'm just like, dude, there's too many. There's She-host, there's Chicho, there's there's too dang many of them. But yeah, dude, Columbus, same thing. You know, Zelarayan, he comes in and out, he shows up, does disappear sometimes. Defensively, they've just been all over the place. Dude, Columbus is one of those teams that is kind of in a slump. But they're a team to be looked at right now. I think they're quality.
Yeah.
I really think
they were my pick preseason to be really good. We beat them in the U.S. Open Cup. Just saying.
Ooh,
they will not be winning that competition.
Yeah, Messi and Miami are going to win it. Obviously, it's good for the league.
The Ohio teams are very, very good. Columbus and Cincinnati. Nashville has rediscovered how to not give up goals. That's good. I see that. Jack Maher, Walker Zimmerman, pretty
dude. Jack Maher,
you
actually, shout out to you at the beginning of the season. You're like, I don't know, Jack Maher. He's like, better than Walker Zimmerman almost. And I was like, okay. And
big
I bought
Jack
him.
Maher guy. Yeah,
he's young too, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He was our draft pick in 2021. So he's only been in the league a couple of years. But yeah, he's very, very good.
You know who's actually on the come up right now? Actually right now, this is perfect. You know who the second half of the season bump is going to be? It's Montreal.
I don't know if I believe you.
No, man. I think there's something brewing in Montreal right now where they
scored 22 goals this year, guy.
Yeah, just
23 games.
Yeah, because they started the season just awful. But they're starting to come back. They're starting to find form. They made some moves.
Hernan Lozada.
They made some moves. They got Bryce Duke. They got Lassiter in there. They got a Poku. All right.
Oh, I do love a Poku.
Yes, let him cook.
Here's my problem with Montreal, right? This is Hernan Lozada, very up tempo, all the time press type of dude, which is great for winning and losing, and you'll get more points in a regular season than you otherwise would. They're the other team with less than 3 draws, along with St. Louis. Another problem with running constantly all the time.
What is it?
You kind of fall off at the end of the season. Happened to DC United.
Yeah,
it's kind of a thing.
But if you weren't even on to start the season,
they're not in the playoff race now anyway. I mean, they're in the race, but they're not in the playoff spots anyway. They actually have to do better in this last 11 games. Their legs are just gonna die.
No way. Dude, half of these people they got halfway through the season. They haven't even ran a full season.
That's true.
Montreal went into the season and said, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And they've slowly done it. They've picked up some pieces in the offseason, mostly all through the MLS. Yeah. And I think, if anybody's going to go on a run at the end of the season, I think it's going to be Montreal.
I am a big Bryce Duke fan, and I am a big Quado Opoku fan. And I'm also a big Hernan Lozada fan. But
and you're still fighting me on this.
But yes. Yeah. Eventually their legs are gonna die. They may sneak into a playoff spot because there's 9 of them. Because cool, why not? Let's just keep throwing more playoff spots out there. Why don't we just have 15 playoff spots and just not even play a regular season? It's fine. They may sneak in, but I really don't think they're gonna have the chops to win a playoff game. If they get to the playoffs.
Hey, I didn't say they were going to win anything. I just said they were going to go on a run to the end of the season. That's all. I didn't say they would do anything with it. But dude, even then, when you mentioned Bryce Duke, if you look at his AA since he got to Montreal, it's just 10, 23, 19, 14, 19. He's starting to do
Bryce Duke fan.
He's in that Mihailovic role, and if he can figure it out and make it work.
Well, Mihailovic wasn't a Lozada guy. There's a different system. if you're going to use facts on these things, there's no point even having these discussions. But my problem is
I don't like facts.
Victor Wanyama, 22 games played this year. Good luck. Chinoso 04, 22 games played this year. Camacho, 20 games played this year. Waterman, 19 games played this year. Their defense is bad already, and they're going to stop running. Like, they're going to concede a lot of goals.
Hey, as long as they can score them back.
They've only scored 22 goals this year. Like, they've scored less than 1 goal per game.
Listen,
I don't know. I
mean, that's fair.
Next
that's
year.
fair.
Next year. Give Montreal a year.
How much of that is just getting worked by Losada for so many years that you just refuse to trust it?
Oh no, I thought he was great.
You can like him, but
yeah, I was a big Losada guy. I was mad when they fired him, but I also know why they fired him, and it's because he worked the players till they almost died. Like he's gonna do the same thing in Montreal. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's gonna go one of two ways. They're either gonna get on a roll and be really good, or they're gonna go really downhill. Like there's not really an in between.
that's true. Like they're not going to sit in the middle. They're going to go up or they're going to go down. But
That's Losada. You either win or you lose. There's no tying. There's no kissing cousins in this one.
oh, listen. Since you won't take me on my Montreal take, where are you on the Toronto situation?
Well,
Because that is just a dumpster fire in itself.
yeah.
But what is your take on that? I need to hear from you.
Kind of shocked by Toronto, to be fair, because they got the Italians, and I assumed that they would just kicking and screaming wise, just pass it to the Italians. But Bob Bradley is, I guess, not good at that for some reason, and now he's gone. Yeah, you go 0-8-4 on the road is not going to get it done. You gotta, at least at some point, you gotta get a point on the road, and they just really haven't done it. I haven't been watching, so I can't tell you to be fair what their issue is, but
Everything.
man, like you figure they get Sean John, they got all the Italians. I thought Bob Bradley was a pretty good coach, but he also did refuse to play the kids. Like he's been keeping Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy in jail forever. Ask me how I know that, because I have his rare card and his limited card and I have every card he has.
You love to see it.
But yeah, Toronto has not gotten a point since the beginning of June. That's not good. It's never what you want. You go a whole month and a half without a point. But it's okay because they're playing Montreal next, and there will be no draws in that game. So
and they traded Marc-Anthony Kaye for Latif Blessing.
Interesting.
Yeah, that just happened like last week. You didn't know about that, did you?
I did not hear about that.
Yeah,
Latif Blessing was a big Bob Bradley guy, wasn't he?
He sure was. But there's no more Bob. There's no more Bob.
So why wasn't Latif Blessing good in New England? Because he is a good player.
So from what I gathered, he just didn't fit into the system.
Yeah.
And I just don't think. I mean, Matt Poulter's been having a year too.
That's the thing. They don't have anywhere to play him. Just like LAFC, they didn't have anywhere to play him. Like Blessing is really good at like all the positions, but he's not like great at one position. So he's a great player to have on your team. He just is never really a starter.
Yeah, he's just like a role player. Like, yeah, he like anywhere you need him to go, he will go and do the job. But when it comes to like actually having him be like a mainstay, he's just never been able to do that. And even at LAFC, but he's so fun to watch though. He's just free roaming. He just
one of my favorite players.
He finds the space no matter where it is on the pitch, and he'll just slot into it. Like, I don't even think, Latif Blessing can't even help Toronto at this point. The Italians don't want to be there. Insigne doesn't want to be there. Bernadeschi doesn't want to be there.
Yeah. That's always the risk, right? You bring in a high profile guy. Does he really try? And in this case, he didn't really try. So yikes.
And like even
will Messi try?
Ooh, I think he will. I think
he will too. He's too much of a gamer. He's like Wayne Rooney. He's too much of a like competitive.
Well, I was gonna say like he's just too much of that guy. He knows everything's on him. He loves the game so much. Like, he's not just gonna come here and then just dick around. Like he
Right.
just doesn't seem like that kind of. You know who does though? Not that I want to talk bad about Shaqiri,
Insigne.
but oh
Oh,
man, dude,
Shaqiri too.
Shaqiri. Because I mean, what they played in Orlando 2-3 weeks ago, and like normally I'm like okay whatever, like guy's a bum. Like even like Bernadeschi, like when they played, like yeah we routed Toronto, but you watch Bernadeschi play and you're like wow this guy's really good. Like there is talent there. Watching Shaqiri on the pitch, like it made me mad for Chicago fans. He just mopes around the pitch. He just like shrugs, drops his shoulders all the time, just like super bad attitude, just like all around the pitch. And I'm just like, dude, like you're Shaqiri right now. You are the highest paid player in the league right now. I'm like, yeah,
Not a
it's
good look. You want to know the
not a
fun
good.
thing? Since that game, they've won 3 straight.
Oh yeah, no,
That game that you're talking about. Chicago's not bad, actually.
they're another team where like the second half of the season, it's like, oh, you guys remember how to play, but that's also they fired their coach,
Right.
which also goes to show you like what was happening in Chicago that things got that bad that as soon as they like let go, they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna play again.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was ever really that good. But Chicago's always been that team that's had a little bit of talent, but they've never been good, at
That's
least
true.
since like the 2000s. Like they had Georgi Mihailovic, and he was not really that good there. They had a bunch of good young players that have just like not really panned out. And now like
Gutierrez looks nice though.
Chris Brady's pretty good. I'm not gonna say I told you so on that one, but when he was struggling earlier in the season, everybody's giving me shit, and I was like, no, he's gonna be fine. Just relax. And he didn't lose the job, and he's still the greatest goalkeeper in Chicago history. Looking at
Wow,
you,
you're gonna do
Gaga
that to
Slonina.
Slonina, bro?
Looking at you. Yeah. So I mean, Chicago, I think is okay. I still just think they're okay, though. I don't think they're like great.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of stopped. I really stopped following Chicago when Mueller went down for the season. I was like, don't care.
Hmm.
I was like, Mueller will still kind of get me to like kind of chime in, tune in a little from time to time here. But yeah, no, after he went down, I was like, yeah, all right, I'm over Chicago.
See, that's the thing. I don't know who's hurt for the season at this point. Like, I could be saying like, oh, Montreal's decent, but actually, Opoku and Bryce Duke and all these guys are hurt for the year. I'm like, oh, just kidding. They're gonna suck. I should know they're gonna suck because everybody's hurt. What's the most hurt team right now?
Who? Galaxy? Maybe.
They're just bad. I knew they were going to be bad.
Yeah, I mean, Galaxy dealt with a bunch of
called
injuries.
them missing the playoffs, and everybody.
Austin very early dealt with injuries, but Austin's kind of starting to creep back up too.
Yeah, good for Austin. I doubted them too, but they're back up to 5th.
Oh, dude, they were so bad at the beginning of the season. I was so out on Austin. And yeah, I mean the LA Galaxy are a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
that is.
They haven't fired Greg Vanney yet, right?
Nope.
It's incredible.
But
I know the president got fired, but yeah, I don't know how Greg Vanney hasn't been fired yet. I don't know how Peter Vermees hasn't been fired yet.
Talk about SKC for a second. Well, hey, Alan Pulido came back and he's scoring goals again. That's why he hasn't been fired. That's exactly
why they're not in
fired.
a playoff spot, and there's 9 playoff teams.
But after 3 years, Alan Pulido is scoring goals. Okay, that's it. That's all they need.
That's unfortunately not all you need. You do. I mean, Gadi Keane has been back too, because I've had him in my gallery forever, waiting for him to get healthy. He's back and he was playing pretty well. But
and they have Kendall McIntosh as a starting goalkeeper, which no one saw coming.
The heck is that all about? Like,
what is it? Melia went down.
Pulskamp
came in,
and Pulskamp is just shit.
Pulskamp laid an egg, yeah, and then McIntosh got it.
See, I want to say that I called Pulskamp being shit, but also I own a Pulskamp, so I don't think I can really say that. I'm just glad I stayed away. Because at the time I was like, well, it's either Pulskamp or Melia, and I can buy them both for less than I can buy any other goalkeeper in the league for. So I might as well get them. And yeah, that didn't work.
You know what's funny? I remember having that conversation with you because I was like, had them both pulled up, and I was going to pull the trigger, and I never did. And I'm so glad I didn't.
Look at you.
Yeah, look at me. Look at me go. Look at me go.
I see Ben Olsen is in his comfortable 9th position in the table down in Houston.
Listen, I will not.
Classic get into the playoffs guy and never win a playoff game.
Yeah, but they have Hector Herrera now, which I have been on the Hector Herrera train since last year.
Yeah.
Pat myself on the back for
That
that
was
one.
old John from Predictology was on that train too. Had a super.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He nailed that.
I have watched probably way more Houston Dynamo than I'd probably be willing to admit here on a public platform. But I have been watching a lot of Houston and their new forward that they picked up, Aliyu Ibrahim. He hasn't really scored a lot yet, but if you watch him on the pitch, it's coming. It is
Who is
so
this?
coming. Aliyu Ibrahim. He's 21.
Can you spell it?
ALIYU IBRAHIM. I don't know. He has
Where'd
a
they get
weird
him
name. I
from?
don't know how to pronounce. Somewhere in Europe.
Lokomotiv Zagreb
Yeah, there it is.
from Croatia.
Yeah, buddy. Look, he's one of those guys where his scores haven't really been there, right? But if you watch him on the pitch, you're like, there is just something there. He's a hustle merchant, man. He's all over the pitch. He's running into space. A lot of that low AAs because he likes to take it to the corner and then lose it because he's not quite
That's a
there
Ben
yet.
Olsen special. Hustle all over the pitch, but don't ever do anything.
Yeah,
baby. He's gonna start forever in Houston.
I don't know. It's one of
You
those things
said
where
that, I was like, wait, this is Ben Olsen. This makes sense.
Yep,
This makes a lot
100%,
of
man.
sense.
It's one of those players that on the pitch you're like, wow, he must have like some crazy AA, and then you go look and it's like negative, like,
-5.
It doesn't translate, but if he figures it out and he really just settles into the system, which really seems like he's going to be the go-to guy, he's a little guy to think. See, I'm here for you. I got you.
I think I'd looking at his scores, I think I'd rather have Duncan McGuire because
Okay,
Duncan scores. Like guys like this are very reliant on scoring and assisting, and it doesn't look like he's done that much this year. In fact, he's done one of each
because he's new. Okay, listen, I'm forward thinking. All right, what did we talk about earlier? I said you get him when he sucks, so you can sell him when he's good. You get him.
His price is very high for someone that sucks, though.
Well, it's because you just had 2 good games.
Did he have 2 good games?
2 decent-ish games. You always come.
One
for
was
me,
a
Kris.
47. Is a 47 good? We've been playing this long enough to know that a 47 is not good.
You know, if you look at the rest of the forwards in MLS right now, there's really not a lot to pull from right now.
Yeah,
I have tried so hard. Like I have spent hours just trying to find a forward, and outside of 5 of them, it's all just junk.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah.
The problem is MLS is a very 10 heavy league, and all of the 10s in this league are considered midfielders.
Yep.
Except for Messi for some reason.
Yep.
Why is Messi a forward?
Because it's good for Sorare in their bags.
That might be true.
Honestly, I
know.
really, and that is one thing that I would love clarity on is how do y'all decide who's a forward and who's a mid? Because
I could see back in his Barca days when he was a winger, that could be a forward.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
But he's more of a 10 now, you know?
Yeah, he just sits in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, he's more of a, not the furthest guy forward, but he's going to create type of stuff. He's not really on the left wing much anymore.
No, right. Yeah. I mean, he'll float out to the right. He still floats out to the right a lot. Right. But yeah, he's a midfielder. So we're on to you. I see you.
Yeah. So who are the forwards? Jesus Ferreira for sure.
What is it? It'd probably be Ferreira,
Cucho,
Buanga, which is really he hasn't really been scoring, but
that's the problem. He's another one of those guys. 47 last 15.
Well, yeah, but I mean, LAFC has been playing a game every 3 days for the past month and a half. But yeah, he hasn't been scoring. If he could find the form that he was in at the beginning of the season, it would be sick.
Yeah, because he was scoring a hat trick every other game. Yeah, I would love that too.
What is it? Savarino, but he might be gone. What other forwards we got? Halongwane over there in Minnesota.
Well, you said that when we were talking before, and I don't know if his scores are that good.
Well,
Halongwane.
So my thing, and I was actually thinking about it
Oh, yeah,
today,
he's actually not
is
bad.
I might sell Halongwane because now that they got Timo Pukki, I don't know if Puki's
Ooh,
gonna
I
take
love
some of
Pookie.
those decisives away. That's like
Or create
Halongwane.
more, because
That's another thing.
Pookie's a striker, like Hlongwane is an attacking
That's
mid.
another thing. Two things are going to happen. Either Halongwane's goals are going to go down, but his assists are going to go up, or he's just going to lose decisives, period. So it's like,
Actually, I'm 100% on board with Hlongwane. Looking at this now,
yeah.
U23, right?
Yeah.
He's not that expensive.
So you try to come for me before
He
you hit the facts.
he averages, yeah, exactly, right? He averages 10 AA game, which is not bad. And then he can score an assist. Like, he has 8 goals and 3 assists in the last year. Like, actually, I'm on board.
Thank
Good
you.
call.
Thank you. You just
He had a 99.2 one time against
Yeah.
Portland.
Thank you. I know what I'm talking about sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good call. I'm
Made me
good for
take
it.
point, and all of a sudden you're just going to question me. You're going to question my takes.
Hell yeah.
Some of them are a little hot, but some of them are real. They're not all bad.
What about Brandon Vasquez? He's kind of cheap.
Yeah.
Johnny Russell's really cheap.
Yeah, but he's had SKC. Do you really want to mess with SKC right now?
No.
Johnny Russell's been one of those guys that every year I'm like, oh man, it's Johnny Russell. And then I never buy him. And then at the end of the season, I'm like, and that's why I didn't buy him.
What about Chicharito? He's pretty cheap. He's going to be pretty good this year, I think.
So sad.
So
Sad day. Sad day. The day that Chicharito went down. Dude, I was so that's so upsetting. I feel so bad for the guy.
Chico Arango, Christian Arango, out in LA. He's pretty good.
Tyler Boyd over at the LA Galaxy. What's up?
Tyler Boyd.
Listen,
Ugh.
who's a forward at LA right now? It's either Jovic or Tyler Boyd. Which one are you going to go
Jovic
with?
is very good off the bench. I will say that.
Yeah, and guess what?
He's very good when he thinks that he's not the starter, and
guess what? Chicharito's gone, and Jovic still hasn't really done much.
Yeah, sad.
Which you would think that it was like, oh, Jovic, hey buddy, this is your time to shine, baby. And yeah, it didn't really happen. But
did I make a mistake selling Gustavo Bou, the reward that I won?
Oh, you sold it.
I did sell it.
When did you sell it recently?
Yeah, yesterday.
No, you did fine.
Yeah.
Listen, historically,
I felt like I got a lot out of it.
Historically, Bo's gonna get injured any minute now.
Yes. And he's also 33. Like, he's gonna fall off a cliff any day now.
Which don't get me wrong.
Which I think I said the same thing about Messi about 5 years ago. But,
yeah, that's true. But like, don't get me wrong. Bo has played really, really good this year. Probably better than he has in the past 2. But again, yeah, it
looks like the 2020 Bo that was like really good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you look at his age and you look at his history and you're like, listen, you may be on a heater now, but it's definitely a sell high.
It's sell high territory. Yeah. For sure.
So if you're out there holding the bow or you just bought a bow, good luck. And hope he doesn't go down because he's having a great season. But dude, you have any other questions? I don't really know where to go at this point. We're just going down the MLS. What's piquing your interest? What is your eye catching that?
So Portland's bad. What happened to the greatest player to ever play in MLS?
Oh, dude, you talking about that guy Evander that scored like 100 goals this season?
Yeah. Is he really good?
On paper.
On paper, he's really good.
I mean, Portland in general is just garbage this year. Like
he's actually not been that bad, to be fair. He's only 25.
He's not the guy that everybody expected.
No.
Like, is he that bad? No. Is he the guy that everybody was like, oh my God, Portland got Evander. Like, they're finally going to turn it around.
Right.
They are not. But I mean, if I remember correctly,
at 180.
Portland got smacked with injuries again this year too, didn't they?
I don't know.
They lost Williamson.
I don't know why you're asking me.
I don't know. Dude,
I can tell you if El Paso's been smacked with injuries.
I don't know.
Wait, in all seriousness, when is Sorare getting USL coverage? Come on. I need that inside information to be able to play guys.
Listen, they have USL listed players, so it's not
I
out of the
know.
realm of possibility that it could one day indeed be a thing.
Yeah, like I think one of our players has a card. Yeah, he's actually kind of expensive too. I should buy
Is
him,
he
but
really?
I don't want to. Yeah, Edward Kizza. He's
Ooh.
0.0023 for a limited, which I think is expensive for a guy who is not eligible to be played. And also,
Yeah,
well,
but if there's anything that we know, it's that nothing in the So Rare streets makes sense. We just
no.
we just
There's
take it for what
300
it
of
is.
There's 300 of them too. It's not like there's only like a couple. Like he had a full season of mints.
Jesus.
He was a Revolution player.
It's okay. On the NBA side, there's a bunch of like G League guys that didn't play for the main team on the NBA, and they have cards. I won a few of them, and they're just dead to me.
Mike DeShields has cards too.
I'm
Former top 5 draft pick for DC United.
Yeah, I knew who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he's a backup on our team actually.
But being that we're towards the end of this lovely comeback episode, which it's just all over the place, which just shows you how much we haven't even talked in our own personal lives.
I feel like, to be fair though, that's every episode we do. It's kind of
That's
all over
true.
the place.
Yeah, but that's part of the beauty and the magic.
That's why we
of this
get
show.
paid the big bucks.
Hey, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All the big bucks. But being on Red X's that we were talking on Red X's in the USL, what's your take on the whole Saudi thing and Saudi coverage?
First off, why don't they have coverage of it?
Mm.
Is it like an Opta thing where they can't, or is it just
No.
like, we don't think it's a good enough league?
So from like all the different bits of information that you can get everywhere, not knowing what's correct and what's not, I think Opta does have the coverage. So Rare just hasn't paid for it.
That's really odd, because like what's the reasoning behind that? It's one of two things, right? It's either we don't think they're a good enough league, which is bullshit, because they have like the Colombian league and the Peruvian league and leagues that even before they got all these stars, the Saudi league was better than that. Or two, we don't want to support the Saudi government, which makes some sense. Like
there is merit to that, yes.
Yeah, I can get that side of it. But
so I kind of like
players that you should really have coverage of.
Do they though? Like, there's a lot, but there's not at the same time going over there. But at the same time, an argument that I like the most is that if they don't have the licenses for the cards, then why bother like really covering the whole league when how many players are over there that we really want to have other than the ones that just transferred over there?
Yeah, there's like 10.
I
still think you should get that. I also think realistically, well, unless you have like political issues with it, really you should have the Saudi league's coverage. Like you should have the team's license. You know what I mean? Like that. Like that's all. It's been a semi like decent quality league for a while now. Like those teams are typically in the Asian Champions League like a decent ways. Like sometimes they win it. Like they're always pretty decent. So yeah, I don't, and especially now that if they're gonna dump like billions of dollars into it, like you kind of have to cover it, you know?
Well, that's another thing too, is like now that you mentioned that, it's look, if they're spending this much money now, it's not going to stop anytime soon. If you really dig into the nitty gritty and why Saudi is spending so much of their money and their funds, is that because they literally need to diversify their portfolio because they're just sitting on cash that is basically worthless now. For the most part, as far as fiat is concerned. So yeah, they're probably going to be spending a lot in the next couple of years in bolstering because
the counter argument to that is look what happened with China a couple of years ago when they bought like Hulk and Oscar and all of those big players, and they're like, oh, we're going to put this big investment in, and then 5 years later it was like, well, this didn't work. We're just not buying players anymore.
Yeah, but China's economy and Saudi's is two completely different things. Where China is grasping for a stable economy, which they did, and it quickly peaked and went the other way. where Saudi is, they don't even know what to do with their money.
But what happens when we get like electric vehicles and don't need oil anymore in like 10 years? They're kind of
I mean, are all our factories and all our warehouses and all other means of production going to be electric too? They're still going to need oil
Yeah.
and lubricants and all sorts of stuff. It's not just motor vehicles.
Well, I
Like
know
there's
it's
so
not
much that
just
runs on
motor
oil.
vehicles, but I'm saying like that technology is going to get to a point where we don't need to use oil. We can't use oil. This is a whole different conversation.
I was gonna say we can go into the energy power dynamics of we'll never be
I have
fully
no
off
idea what
fossil
I'm talking
fuels
about.
and
Yeah. No, but you get my point. Like, I don't know if just because they're spending money now doesn't mean they will in the future, but it
okay.
probably will spend some money in at least the next few years. So this is probably not the last time we're going to see people signing in Saudi. So should they have it covered? I say yes.
Yes, I say there's no downfall to them covering the damn league. Like wanting to license the clubs and releasing all those cards and
Right.
do we really need it right now in this environment, yada yada. No, not really. And I get that side of it too. I just don't see why they wouldn't get the coverage as far as scoring players.
Right.
Like whether they go there or not meant to. I'm like, dude, you guys don't even have the majority of the Liga MX license. Give me that, please. Stop talking about Saudi and let's get on sober about onboarding Liga MX. Because not only would I be incredibly happy, you know how many dang Mexicans watch Liga MX? Like anytime any Liga thing happens in the MLS, 70% of that stadium is there for Liga MX, not MLS. Like there is just an entire community and group of people that are completely being neglected in Mexico. And that would Mexico would onboard people a lot more than Saudi would, is all I'm saying. And yeah, so should they cover the league? Should they get scored?
All I have to
Yes.
say about that.
Mic drop. Just kidding. It's on a stand.
You can throw it. You could just throw your mic.
That's after we stop. That's after we hit end record. Because
there you go.
Because I gotta say goodbye and give all the outros before I break this thing.
Bye, Mom.
Bye. But yeah, dude, it's been a great time. So yes, Saudi, no Saudi coverage.
I vote yes, Saudi, but also I can understand the political issues.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms that we could bust open and spill on the floor, but we won't because that is disrespectful. But yeah, do you have anything else to say?
Amazing first episode back. This is so much fun to actually talk to real life people about Sorare again. It's great, and not just in my head. I feel like I've been having an internal conversation about Sorare ever since I stopped, and it's just been me talking to myself. This has been awesome. As a programming note, I will definitely not be here next week. There's 0% chance that's happening because we have like 6 events next week. But the week after that, we should be back, and then we should be like in pretty good spot, to keep moving forward. So, check us out. We're on Twitter.